Hey, it's Jazz here. You're about to watch a live call that I've cut up for you, as I thought it would be really valuable to share here on YouTube. This is a call taken from some of my more advanced students that I hop on around 2 or 3 times a week live on Zoom and help them out with specific things that they're working on. This whole thing started from a question a student asked right at the beginning of the call around creating bass lines, particularly how to construct bass lines without feeling like you're just repeating yourself, like the same stuff that you've known for years. Like, how do you add new vocabulary to your playing? So you're going to see at the beginning of the call, we talk about how to connect one chord to another, and we start with walking bass lines because with walking bass lines, the rhythm is the same. It's just quarter notes, so you almost kind of remove the rhythmic aspect of creating a bass line, and then you can just focus on the notes. And then later on in the call, I show you how that walking bass language translates over into creating bass lines in other genres, particularly Motown. So this call isn't like for beginners, this is more kind of intermediate advanced students. But if you are at that kind of level where you'd like to dive more into how to construct your own Jamerson-ish type bass lines, I think you're going to really enjoy this call.
There are only so many things you can do as a bass player without like completely, destroying the groove. There's only so many ways to get from one chord to another, and there's cliche ways, and I think they're cliche for a reason. Those walk-ups, like that walk-up, in jazz, that would be considered like a cliche walking bass line, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that it's used a lot, and there's a reason why it's used a lot. It's a great way to get to connect the two chords. So yeah, also I wouldn't be like too hard on yourself because there are only so many ways of getting from one chord to another. And you know what I did a lot actually is, even I know we're looking at this chord progression here, but even just taking like a C to an F and then just figuring out, okay, I'm going from a C, this C, to this F, and like I just did there, like how many ways can I walk from the C to the F diatonically, so not using any like chromatic notes or any notes outside the C major scale, and making sure that the last note is a note below or above the target note. I remember working a lot, especially on like going from chords 1 to 4 and then chords 1 to 5. So in C that would be 1, like C to F and then C to G. Like I worked a lot on that. It's finding how many ways can I go from this C to this F, making sure that the last note is either a scale note below the target note, so E, or a scale note above. So beat 1 is like already taken, and beat 4 is already taken, because if we're playing like a pop thing, we're not going to do too many chromatic notes or anything. So this is going to be a scale note above or below. So really the only freedom you've got is beat 2 and 3. It's like, okay, what do I play on beat 2 and 3? I mean that's really it. So you could almost break it down to like, right, so do 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 do, and then you can go. Would you come up with one for me? That would work. The last note basically needs to be an E or a G. C, E, G, E, F.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard what I was playing now. I was just going, like, doing a kind of like Motown-ish. I just played what you wrote out there. And what you're doing is constructing a bass line, but within the framework of the song. Like, you could do more than 4 notes, but the basic structure is like those 4. That is the formula. Like, you're going to play a root at the beginning of the bar, and you could go like root. You could go, instead of going like root, like we're just doing it as quarter notes to simplify the rhythm because we're focusing on the notes. So we're focusing on the notes, so we simplified the rhythm, and we're just doing quarter notes right now. But like I think I spoke about earlier this week, like that line, you add a little bit of like rhythm to those notes, like so when you're like, oh, I feel like maybe I'm repeating some of the bass lines I'm playing, some people sometimes forget to mess with the rhythm as well. Not mess with it, but like you can use the rhythm. And the rhythm is based on the skeleton grooves. You can mess with the rhythm, but if you come too far away from the skeleton groove, then it creates more tension. Similar to like if you play a chromatic note, it's more tension with harmony. So you can create more interest, but also a bit more tension with notes or rhythm. And those are the only real things you've got to play with. And one thing that I've definitely learned is like, when I feel like, oh, I'm kind of repeating myself quite a bit, remember that you're in a supportive role. You know what helped me construct like Motown Jamerson lines and stuff is everyone talks about Jamerson as far as like the notes, and obviously I just see a lot of the notes as walking bass lines, what Jamerson played. Like he's just connecting one chord to another. But I think what I really got from Jamerson and stuff is it's the rhythms. Because once you understand these formulas that we're looking at today, it's about knowing the rhythmic vocabulary. Okay, take the bridge, for example, of Ain't No Mountain High Enough, right? These 3 bars. So he's playing, essentially think about it as he's playing an F sharp chord, a B minor chord, and a G chord. And listen to what he does here. Okay, so there, like think about it as the first part of the bar is the skeleton groove. If you take the basic thing that he's doing, he's just going. We played this one last night, and on the gig, I play boom, 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 but then I just do something else, right, to connect the chords. So maybe I go. Right, so I'm playing the bass line, but I'm adding my own thing to it, but it still sounds like I'm not taking away from the bass line. In the first bar is root, 5th octave, 5th octave. And then the B chord. And then all he's doing there is like root, 5th octave, and then 5th, and just walking down to the G. And then Ain't No Mountain High Enough, What's Going On, and For Once in My Life. Those were like the 3 main Jamerson bass lines that really taught me the language and vocabulary of James Jamerson. Yeah, particularly What's Going On, because there's just a lot of really interesting things rhythmically with 16th notes that's very specific. Even that B sus thing. Like that's a Jamerson thing, like dum dum boom 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 boom. Like there's these rhythmic vocabulary that's in my head, understanding the not just the notes he's playing, but even just being able to like sing the bass line, because you're internalizing these rhythms that Jamerson played, and then you just pair those rhythms with what we just spoke about. Like if you break down what he's doing notes wise, here he's going roots and fifths, and then the last note is a chromatic note. So it's a C. Here, he's doing a walk up. So he's going. But he's just changing the rhythm. That's a walk up. This is like Sweet Home Chicago. Like that blues bass line where it's like root, 5th, 6th. But here he's going. It's either what we just spoke about, or it's a walk up, or it's maybe like this, maybe he's using jazz language. Yeah, so here, like if I broke down the notes he's playing, like on this C sharp minor, you've got this C sharp minor sound, and he's going. Right, so those are the notes. Now if I play them as quarter notes, right, it's a walking bass line, like root, 5th, 7, chromatic, root. I think the biggest thing with the Motown stuff, learning the rhythmic vocabulary, and then you can just assign the notes to the rhythms that you're hearing in your head. That is literally it. And then generally making sure that the last note is a scale note above or below, fifth above any octave. If you're doing a walking bass line, this is on the fourth beat, but it could just be the last note. You've got a lot of freedom here to do stuff. You obviously got to start the phrase, right? So I'm starting it on root, right? The A to the D is a fifth, right? So that's why that sounds quite nice. So it's just that last note that is the connecting note. Those are the rules whether you're playing walking bass, but also what Jamerson will primarily be doing to connect the chords. Like here he's going C sharp to F sharp, that's a fifth, right? And then here he's going chromatic note to the B, like from one chord to another. Here he's going G sharp to C sharp. That's one of my favorite parts of the bass line, where he goes like a A4. Like that bit. That's really nice. He's doing that there. Here he's going a D sharp to an E. Here's one time where he's not doing that, but you're on the same chord, so it doesn't matter as much, right? So when you're on the same chord, you don't really need to think about connecting as much. Here he's going from one scale note below to the target note. Here he's going a chromatic note below. Can you see? That's a chromatic note. One scale note above to the target note, one scale note below. That's like a fifth above to the chromatic note. So all those rules that I just talked about, the last note that he's playing before changing chord is pretty much it's one of these three things. It's a scale note above or below, fifth above in any octave, and then a chromatic note above or below in any octave. And as far as like the note construction, that's really it. And then it's just immersing yourself in the rhythmic language. But I just remember going through those three songs and they really helped. What's Going On, Marvin Gaye. For Once in My Life, Stevie Wonder. That's a hard one. And then Ain't No Mountain High Enough, which is in the groove vault. And those three songs really taught me so much about how Jamerson constructed it. You know what I used to do a lot is I have the book, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, and I'd listen to the bass part. Even if I couldn't sight read it, I'd look at what's going on and just immerse yourself in that language. And then what will happen is those rhythmic phrases will start to come out a bit more, you know, in your playing. A lot of what I do if I'm playing a Motown thing is the stuff that we just covered with the notes, and then just assigning those notes to the rhythm.